千里之行，始于足下. A journey of 1,000 miles begins beneath the feet. We now gather in the Tao to travel the journey together. Welcome to Tao Talks with Derek Lin, where we delve deeply into the Daodejing by Lao Tzu. When Tao masters and sages come upon this concept to explain it, oftentimes they will use a classic story from Zhuangzi to explain. That story is called The Horse Lover. So I would like to present it to you now the same way that they would. So here in this slide, the title is Excessive Love Must Lead to Great Expenditure. The bottom, you'll see the name of the story. It's called The Horse Lover. 爱马的人. 爱, the first character is love. 马, second character means horse. And then there's the apostrophe S, and then there's person. The person who loves horse, the horse lover. So let me share that story with you from Zhuangzi. Once upon a time, in ancient China, there was a man who was incredibly obsessed with horses in general. He loved horses, all of them, any kind of horses. He spent all of his time taking care of horses, being around horses, watching horses, and he had a prized possession. He had a horse that was a powerful stallion and a tremendous value. It was strong, it was fast, it was majestic, it looked great. He loved this horse. He loved it so much that he spent a lot of time in the care and feeding of this particular stallion. In fact, he would use nothing but the best feed. He would use a large wicker basket to catch its droppings. And he would even use a container made of seashell, very valuable and very expensive. He would use that to contain its urine. And people look at this and people thought, this is kind of strange. Okay, you're really obsessed. You're really attached. You know, using not just the best feed for the horse, but these expensive containers for the droppings, for the manure and the urine. You're crazy. Now, he would tell them that, well, the reason why I wanted to use these things, because I want to remove any offending waste from the presence of my beloved steed. This right here is my beloved steed. I can't tolerate anything bad around the object of my love, this horse. So one day, he was once again feeding the stallion and also grooming the stallion. As usual, he did this all the time. And there was an interruption, an annoyance to this routine. There was a buzzing sound that he heard. So he looked around, what's going on? And he saw a large fly. Not unusual in a stable environment. So the fly landed on the horse, on the backside of the horse. This immediately angered the horse lover. This man became quite angry, thinking, what are you trying to do? Are you feasting on the blood of my beloved steed? I'm going to teach you a lesson right now. And the lesson is death. So he angrily slapped at it, slapped at the fly that landed on the horse's backside. So it was a sudden slap. And the horse was startled by this. It reacted instinctively, reflexively. Its legs, massively muscle, powerful, strong, kicked out with lightning speed, struck the man, the horse lover, right in the middle of his torso, dead center. Such was the force of this kick that the man was hurled back, his body crushed. He died immediately. He did not even make a sound. Then the horse resumed munching on the feed without any awareness that it had just killed its owner, the owner who loved it more than anything else in the world. That is the story of the horse lover by Zhuangzi. Now, as is the case with all Tao stories, the elements in the story are not what they seem. I want to point to some of the elements and explain the symbology of the story and talk about how this is related to the chapter that we're talking about. So first of all, the horse isn't really a horse. Zhuangzi is talking about this overwhelming obsession or attachment in your life. It's an attachment, it's obsession, because it is all consuming. Consumes all of your attention, all of your thoughts. And therefore, the horse lover isn't just a character in this particular story. Zhuangzi is really talking about you and me. He's talking about everybody. Anyone who becomes obsessed with something is the horse lover. So now, what about other elements in the story? What about the nature of attachment or obsession? Well, we know from living our lives that an attachment can become very toxic when you invest too much time and effort into it. It could start out as a seemingly harmless hobby, but then you start to spend more and more time putting in more and more effort, and suddenly it dominates your life. You get tunnel vision, you can't think of anything else. What started out as a harmless hobby is taking over. So what about in the story, the powerful kick that kills the horse lover? That's the price we pay. It's the way that Zhuangzi frames this particular story to say that when you are so obsessed over something, you pay a heavy price. Because if left unchecked, the obsession is gonna take over not just your time and effort, but also your mind. You can't stop talking about it. You make plans around it. You think about it all the time. And this cannot help but be at the sacrifice of the more important things in life. So when a fly lands on the horse, this is what happens when people attempt to intervene and interrupt your pattern. You see it in your obsession, in your obsessive state, you see it as an unwelcome intrusion. But the fly may be a necessary break. The fly may be a reminder that you are neglecting things. But you react like the horse lover in anger, you feel annoyed, and you trigger something that ends up being the price, the heavy price that you have to pay. In life, it may mean that you are so obsessed with your work that you sacrifice your health, and the kick from the horse manifests as some kind of serious health issue that eventually you have no choice but to address. Then remember that after the horse has kicked the horse lover, it continues on eating its feed. It's not aware, it doesn't care. So this is another way to say, this is sort of a very artful and creative way for Zhuangzi to say that, well, the subject of your excessive love, you may love it, but does it love you? And the answer is no, actually it doesn't. So think about sports fans who do all kinds of crazy things about the sports that they love. Does the sport love them back? Well, it can't. It's not a human being. So this is a story from the Tao of Happiness. It's in part 2. Part 2 is called Travel Advisories. Every part in the Tao of Happiness is connected to the journey of life. So there's the beginning part in the journey of life, there's travel advisories, and then there's also, of course, there comes to the end of a journey. That's part of a normal journey. And this is the metaphor often used by Zhuangzi to talk about both the beginning and the end of the life journey, where the end is what we normally associate with the huge negativity called death. Zhuangzi provides a valuable perspective on death, on life and death, I should say. And so a lot of the Zhuangzi stories are not long, but I find that they are succinct and to the point. I actually appreciate that Zhuangzi will not elaborate with a lot of complexities around stories, but will make them short and simple and convey the point exactly. Just highly targeted, highly accurate, very precise. So probably my favorite source of stories in the entirety of Tao tradition is Zhuangzi. It was a distinct honor for me to be able to write the Tao of Happiness, to really convey the stories that he wanted to tell in a very accurate way. Our meeting has come to an end, but the journey continues on. Let us travel safely. Until next time, may the Tao fill you with peace and happiness.